Hello everybody and welcome to my channel and welcome to the March episode of Mystery Box Monday. That's where I take my mystery box, or basket as I like to call it, of a grab bag of crafty supplies. I reach my hand into this basket and pull out 3 ingredients, and then I cook up one crafty project. While this project is silly on the surface, it really does let us take a deeper look at our supplies and see other ways that we can put them to use. So let's go ahead and get started. The first item I pull out, I think, was just like a storage envelope pouch, but then when I pulled out that second item, which is a die set by Sizzix, I realized the first item was also probably a die set by Sizzix. And then this third item is a stamp set, and we'll take a closer look at each item. This is a Pink Fresh Studio stamp set, and it's really interesting, and it was actually on my wish list, so I was excited to see this in this mystery box. And then this is a die set with lots and lots of pieces that has a Christmas holiday ornament theme to it. And then the third item I have is some snowflakes. So what am I going to do with rainbows and snowflakes? So the first thing that came to mind was bows from that Belle die set. And then I thought of gift packages. And I thought, how can I turn these snowflakes into gift boxes to use on a birthday card? So I played around a bit before filming, and I die cut out these snowflakes. And here's a tip for you: if you have one of those little rolly tools to help with the fine detail dies, it was very helpful with this particular set. And actually all of these supplies are still available, which is unusual for this mystery box project that I do. So I used a pair of tweezers and one of those arms of the snowflake, and I put it inside of a square punch. And now I've got something that looks more like a gift package with some interesting wrapping. So I decided to go in a gift direction with these supplies and not do anything holiday at all. So from that set, there were lots and lots of pieces that could be worked as bows. Some of them were intentional bows, some of them I imagined as bows. And I decided, because those little gift boxes had so much see-through texture, I wanted to make a window card so that I could overlay those gift boxes on a piece of acetate and see through to what I'm going to do on the inside of the card. So here I am using a grid paper to help me with my math. I tried doing this just on my own with calculations, and none of it was coming out quite right. So once I mathed, I was able to mark on my card base where I should line up my punch. And I marked to the left-hand edge. So the first punch was at 1/2 inch. The second punch was a little under 2 and I can't remember the numbers now, but I will put them on the screen for you, and I'll put them in the show notes as well. And then instead of using acetate, I just use scrap plastic from packaging, and I always save a stash of that. I put very thin line of glue around my project. Now this isn't supposed to hold sequins or anything, so it doesn't need to be heavy glue, it just needs to stay in place. And you can see the glue, but to me it doesn't bother me, so I just left it as is, but you could certainly cover it up if it's bugging you. And then here you can see the scratch piece of paper I used as testing out my 3 square lineup there. So I just use that to ink up direct with ink from my ink pads. And I'm going to use those ink pads with that stamp set as well. And I'm die cutting my bows, and there happen to be some little curly cues in that set also that look like streamers. So I'm die cutting those as well. And now I'm going to use the rainbow stamp to stamp a happy rainbow across the inside of my card, and that rainbow will peek through all of the layers that we're going to have on this card. And what's fun about this stamp set is that it pops apart, and that makes it super easy to ink up each individual arc of the rainbow. So you put all the pieces together and you remove the 2 surrounding pieces from the one that you're trying to ink up, or sometimes more if you're messy like me. And then you can put them all back into place to keep everything lined up, and then ink up the next one that you need. And here you can see I inked up the wrong one. So I just put it back in place and then inked up the correct one, and then repeated until I was done with my inking. And then we can move on to the structure of the project. So here it is closed with those windows so you can peek through. And I'm going to inset these punch shapes into those squares that I punch. And it works well because I use the same punch for both, and so those squares fit perfectly. And that's why I decided to use the punch instead of cutting them by hand. So all of those are in place, and I just put little dots of glue on there, and that'll hold well enough into the plastic. And I'm gluing my ribbon pieces into place, and I'm using the same colors that I inked up that rainbow with on the inside. And I'm not going to put a greeting on the outside of this card because I want the inside to be the surprise, just like you're surprised when you open a package. So instead of putting the greeting, I'm adding these little curly cues, and I'm just dragging them through a puddle of glue to glue them down, and that works best for these little items. And then I trim off the edges and I reuse those little cut off pieces, and that gives me more shape variety so it doesn't look repetitive. Just a small tip. Keep in mind that you will see the back side of your paper on the inside of this card, which I didn't really think about when I was creating. Luckily, the colors work okay, and I'm just going to leave it as is. I printed out a greeting that says "You are a gift" because this is actually going to be a thank you card, but you could also use the same technique as a birthday card. And then I finished it up by stamping lots of thank yous in the rainbow, and I will be ready to send this card off to someone I am thankful for. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you were inspired to look at your supplies in new and creative ways. And if you like this project, go ahead and give me a thumbs up because that does help my channel and I appreciate it. I will be back with layout process videos later this week, so I will see you then.